My wife and I have a 2-month-old daughter. For the past month she's been feeding our baby mashed potatoes, applesauce, sweet tea, assorted fruit juices and other things. The last time we went to the doctor, our pediatrician told us to not give her anything but formula until she was between 4 to 6 months old. My wife does not care and says she knows best for our child, and our doctor isn't the parent. Our daughter is always constipated and screams for hours at night that my wife says is colic. I've asked her numerous times to stop feeding our infant table food and go back to giving her formula. She is only feeding her 1 or 2 bottles of formula while I'm at work. The other morning she was cooking scrambled eggs and oatmeal, and I was off work, so I started to make our daughter a bottle and feed her, and she stopped me and told me not to fill her up with that, and she wanted her to eat her oatmeal first. I fed her the bottle anyway after a huge argument. Well, baby had a doctor's appointment, and my wife was talking about the colic and screaming fits, and when the doctor asked what she was feeding her, she only said formula, nothing else. I was angry because she lied and told her the pediatrician every single thing that she had been giving her, and the doctor strongly recommended her to stop, and that she was causing stomach upset and more than likely the reason for all her stomach issues. Instead of being apologetic for this, my wife is mad at me and told me I ratted her out to the doctor and that she doesn't have to listen to her and that it's only a recommendation and that I made her look like a bad parent. I tell her what a selfish little twat she was being, and now she wants me to go stay with my parents until she forgives me and asks me to come home. Am I the idiot here? Maybe I shouldn't have flew mad at her and said some things I did. Maybe I should apologize to my wife. Not the idiot. What your wife is doing could be developmentally damaging to your child. Formula or breast milk have the right balance of fats and nutrients to help an infant's brain develop and to properly grow. What your wife is feeding your daughter does not. Unless your wife has a degree in pediatric nutrition, she does not know better than the resources the doctor has. Honestly, if my spouse was doing this, I would remove myself and the child from the situation until I could trust my spouse to make better decisions for my child. Not the idiot. Obviously you were right to tell the doctor, as it was in the best interests of your baby's health. Your wife's behavior is worrying. Was she always like this? Is there any possibility it could be something like postpartum depression or even postpartum psychosis? I think maybe finding out how your wife is doing in this regard might be in order, and maybe trying to get her some support, whether that's a health visitor or the postnatal mental health team, and arrange alternative care for your baby. Not the idiot. The fact your wife took your child to the doctor for treatment and purposely hid what she was giving your child is proof she knows she is harming your child. Your wife knows she is wrong, or she would not hide it from the doctor. This is serious. This is the start of that whole Munchausen by proxy crap. She's getting attention for being the mother of a difficult and sickly child. She's invested in keeping the child ill. You should leave immediately. You should take your child with you. My 17-year-old daughter is, in her words, sort of, seeing this guy. They've been close friends for about 5 years and romantically involved since the start of the pandemic. He's in our pod and his parents had to work over the holidays, so we agreed to drive him up with us to our beach house. Now, I'm doing my best to be nice to the kid because I feel bad he can't be with his family and I know my daughter really feels strongly about him. What had been bugging me all week, we've been here since the 21st, is my daughter got him lots of presents, we're paying for all his meals, she's taking exquisite care of him, and going way out of her way to be sure the rest of us treat him like family. She just wanted one damn thing from the kid this whole time. She wanted him to walk to some tidal pool with her to watch the sunset. She hasn't asked him to do a single other thing. He spends half the time he's with her on his cell phone texting or talking to other people. The rest of the time he usually sits and silently plays video games on the TV and expects her to just watch quietly. She doesn't complain, it's all fine and good. She just wants him to do this one sunset thing. And he can't be bothered to take the 30 minutes. I'd mentioned to her a few times that she had every right to put her foot down and say he needed to make time for her. But she said she only wanted him to go if he actually wanted to go. I tried to explain he should actually want to go, regardless of where they were going, if it would make her happy. But I don't think the message came across. So, finally, tonight, our last night here, I was so frustrated seeing her ask again and be disappointed again. I just told them both to get in the car without saying where we were going, and I dropped them off at the trailhead to the tidal pool walk. When I picked them up, my daughter was telling him he really should have seen it. I asked what she was talking about. He didn't go. He sat at the trailhead texting the whole time, while she walked alone. My daughter was visibly upset. I told him he's been ungrateful this whole time, and it's not a good-looking way to go through life, and he has done nothing to deserve my daughter's kindness. I really laid it all out. Now my daughter is upset because he's upset, and said I don't understand how much stress and pressure he's under, and she didn't need me butting in. My wife says she found his behavior frustrating too, but that I should have stayed out of it. I feel like it's my job as a parent to teach my daughter to set boundaries with guys like this and to call out that kind of behavior. But I also know she's at an age that I can't swoop in and involve myself in her relationships. I also don't know the specifics of what he's dealing with or how valid his explanations really were. Am I the idiot for the way I handled it just bringing them there, or what I said to him afterwards? Not the idiot. I had some mixed feelings here, but it occurred to me your 17-year-old daughter isn't likely paying for these gifts, she's not paying for the trip or the food, and your daughter wanted one thing from him. You're not the idiot for doing so much for her, for this kid, and wanting one thing out of it. A small thing at that he do what he's supposed to and make her happy on Christmas. I would certainly suggest you leave it to her to handle from here on out, but I don't think you're an idiot for trying to make him take her or expressing that he's an ungrateful sod. Not the idiot. Usually I don't like people, especially my parents, meddling in my life, but your heart is truly in the right place. You've been meddling only gently, and your daughter's boyfriend is definitely a trash bag. I think your daughter has a bad case of low self-esteem and pick-me behavior because she's probably just so excited to have a boy semi-interested in her. The best thing to do would be to put her on to some good content, like books and podcasts that talk about these things, let her absorb the info, and then come to you. Not the idiot. It's not that you aren't right, because you completely are, but my advice would be to try and find other ways to teach your daughter that she deserves more. Keep reinforcing this in positive ways, and hopefully she'll get it. Because pushing away the object of her affection will unfortunately only backfire until she figures out that she needs to prioritize her needs in a relationship. She's young, so I'm betting this bad relationship won't last, and hopefully she'll find better partners as she grows. So long story short, we are both students and live in a 2-bed flat together. I have had problems with her for a long time because she leaves the flat in a disgusting state and has friends over after nights out and plays music when I'm trying to sleep to be up at 5 a.m. to do placement in a hospital. I have serious health issues and have had multiple surgeries in the last year. Placement was called off because of the stuff that's going on, and my job is also closed. I begged her to follow the guidelines the government put down because my doctor made it clear that if I get ill from this, my chance of survival is low. She made it clear she didn't care and would still have her boyfriend and friends over and be going out to theirs. I told her if she did this, I would have to stay with my parents who don't have any Wi-Fi and no service, so I can't get 4G, and that I wouldn't be able to study or do my exams. And again, she made it clear she didn't care and would be doing what she wanted. So I have had to stay with my parents. I emailed the letting agents to let them know I was moving out, and they said I would still need to pay rent while my stuff was still there. I couldn't move at all when I left because it was so last minute. So while I have no income, I have had to pay £410 for a flat I can't live in. My dad went to get my stuff while he was in the city for work, so I don't have to pay another £410. She hasn't paid my back for the Wi-Fi in 3 months, and so I shut it off. I don't live there, so why am I paying for her Wi-Fi? The first message I have had from her since I left was her demanding I put the Wi-Fi on so she can do uni work. I told her no, because of the position she has put me in, and pointed out she didn't care when I couldn't do my uni work because I didn't have Wi-Fi. So she got her dad to phone my dad. I would like to point out at this time that she is 23. And she thought the best way to deal with this was to tell on me. My dad blew them off and said he would speak to me, but it was very clear she had lied to her dad and didn't say the whole truth. Anyway, I told her I would transfer the account over to her, but she had to do all the stuff for and that I'm not doing anything until she sends me the money she owes me. That was 3 days ago, and she hasn't sent it. Am I the idiot for putting the Wi-Fi off, and would I be a bigger idiot for just canceling the whole thing because she hasn't paid me? Not the idiot. I don't, and I'm sure this is the same for the majority, pay bills for flats I don't live in. Why should you? Make sure you get written confirmation that you're no longer on the tenancy agreement and see if you're able to retrieve your portion of the deposit too. It'll be good to be able to cut this person off without having to reconvene in 6 months' time to end the tenancy, as she may dispute damages, etc. If your dad is able to pop over again, it might be worth getting him to take some pictures of your room. Super clearly not the idiot. Sorry she has been so awful. I wish you good health and success on your exams. Don't forget to reach out to your campus dean of student affairs or the equivalent and explain this situation now. If your exams suffer as a result of COVID-driven chaos and health threats, you'll be more likely to be able to reach some sort of arrangement if you've let them know as early as possible that there are problems making it harder for you to prepare. Not the idiot. You don't live there anymore. Why is she asking you to pay the bills? You don't live there anymore. Why in the world would her father, of all people, call you to bully you about his daughter's bills? What freaking planet does he live on? You can see where I'm going with this. You left for very valid reasons. You took care of your obligations, and it's now up to her to begin putting the bills in her name. You shouldn't have to defend or even explain yourself. So long as your bills were paid up and the proper people have been notified of your fine. I've been the extended family's amateur genealogist for more than 20 years. I've built an enormous family tree on this website. Names and details on all living people are hidden unless I give special permission to someone. Info on deceased people is visible. Like a lot of American families, there's a persistent myth that we have some Native American heritage. My late paternal grandmother told us that she was descended from a French soldier who married a Native American woman. Well, Grandma, who was a very sweet lady, made this up. She was orphaned at age 2 and didn't even remember her biological parents. Maybe she just wanted an origin story? I figured out who her biological parents were earlier this year by triangulating my DNA matches and searching other people's public family trees. My great-grandparents were Eastern European immigrants. From newfound relations, I was able to learn a bit of family history. No Native Americans are in it. I'd actually forgotten about the Native American stories. My dad is no longer alive, but I shared this info with his brother, my uncle. He thanked me but asked, "Are you 100% sure there's no Indians," his word, not mine, in our tree? "Yep, 100% sure," I told him. He responded, "Well, Ronnie, fake name, isn't gonna like hearing that. Ronnie is my cousin, I haven't seen him since we were kids, and he apparently took the Native American thing to heart. He went out and got a bunch of tattoos with symbols from some local tribe. I checked out his Facebook and sure enough, he and his kids even go to local powwows and are tribal dancers. I had no idea. To look at Ronnie, I guess you could believe he had somewhat exotic ethnicity if he claimed it. Dark hair and eyes, warm skin tone, high cheekbones, large nose. On the other hand, he looks pretty damn Slavic too. I had and have no intention of telling anybody in Ronnie's world that this is untrue. But he did not take the news well. His dad shared my number And I got a text from Ronnie telling me to take down any info about our family origin immediately. I responded no and reassured him that his name wasn't displayed and his secret was safe with me. I'm not trying to out anybody as anything. I don't share findings on Facebook, and you'd really have to dig through the website tree and know what to look for to find these nuggets on your own. He texted back, "You're a freaking idiot." I blocked him. In hindsight, I wish I'd have responded, "And you're a white dude." Now my uncle has asked me to remove the info as well, for his grandkids' sake. I repeated what I told Ronnie. At least my uncle didn't curse at me, though he is disappointed. I'm sorry Ronnie didn't have the foresight to do his own research before going native, but I don't think I'm an idiot for accurately representing our family history where someone else could see it. Or am I not the idiot? I do genealogy too, and wow, I can't believe the amount of people who cling to that old Indian blood story. What is with that? I heard the same story from my dad's side. Did some poking around and found lots of people linking to names and graves apparently all made up. First rule of genealogy is to back everything up with proof. Your relative might have started with the hope of having Indian blood before DNA existed. It was easier back then to claim, whole lot harder now. Not the idiot. My mom did something similar a few years back. My grandmother claimed her father was a Native American, and that's why her skin tone was so dark. Well, my mom did some digging, because she heavily doubted it. Well, it wasn't a big secret that my great-grandmother was a gypsy immigrant, but she was the only one who didn't lie. My mother is 96% Greek Romani. My entire family on my mother's side are gypsies and super stereotypical against gypsies, even claiming all gypsies are liars and thieves despite them all being gypsy immigrants. Not the idiot. I understand it screws for Ronnie, but he had no right to swear at you or make demands. You didn't do anything wrong to get or share the info. Who knows if Gran lied? He knew it was possible it was just a story, and I'm sure his native friends did too, so even if Grandma was the granddaughter of a native woman, that's what? 1/16th? Isn't the joke that every white American claims to be 1/16th Cherokee? Hard to imagine he told the truth, and no one considered it might be possible he's not really indigenous.